Hi guys, thank you for joining. My name is Marina Lantos and I'm a core team member of East Coast Salon Services and the creator for Cooboard. Today I will be doing a tutorial on how to do a lived-in color using Tease lights and the Cooboard. Stay tuned. So here's my setup. This is the Cooboard. What's special about this board, it has teeth on it and it helps hold the tease back when you're doing tease lights. And if you flip it upside down, you could also use it as a regular balayage board. Now I have lightener. Today I'm using powder lightener with 10 volume. I like it a little bit more on a thicker consistency to make sure that I can get that blend going. Foil comb and some foils. Let's get started. My first major sectioning will be in the back. Second is going to be the apex. Third is the front hairline. Fourth is below the round of the head. And the fifth is the top of the head. First, let's discuss tease lights, what they are and the reason for doing them. So tease lights are the highlights that you tease first before you place the rest of the hair inside of the foil. Teasing moves a portion of the hair up, which in turn gives us a more blended, natural look. So there are different ways to tease hair. You can tease from the base, which is going to give us the least amount of teasing. We can tease from midsection, or we could tease all the way from the ends. Obviously, the more you tease, the more dimension and the more blended your look is going to be. So let's talk about blending and let's talk about painting your sections. When we are painting, it's just like balayage. Whatever the lines that you see inside of the foil is the line that you're going to see once the hair is processed and fully finished. So before I finish and before I close the foil, I always check and double check to make sure that my lines are blurred and everything is blended. Now let's discuss sectioning. No hard lines. Horizontal sections will always give us a bit more of an overlay of color, and diagonal section will give us a little bit more of the blended and distributed look. So as you guys watched, my first section was horizontal, and I took a thin section, teased it, placed the board right inside of the hair, moved it up to hold the tease out of the way, and then painted, making sure that I blend the root. My second section is on a diagonal because I want to make sure that the color that is going to be placed right on the side of her head is going to be much more blended and much less visible. So here I am working up and down motion, going almost like a zigzag section to really make sure that I'm going all the way to the root and blending as much as I can. The reason why I want this section to be all the way at the root, and that's going to be my first 3 sections going all the way around the hairline, is when she wears her hair up in the ponytail, I want that to be as close as possible to the root, but again, blended without any harsh lines. My third section is going to be the same thing going on the opposite side. So I'm teasing quite a bit here. I'm holding my section all the way on the ends of the hair, and I'm teasing all the way from my finger all the way up to the scalp. The reason for it is I want to make sure that I get the most amount of blend. So the teasing removes the most amount of hair, which is going to give me the most blended end result. Always check and double check at the root so that your sections are clean and your blend is beautiful. The next sectioning is going to be a diagonal section about 1.5 inches to 2 inches wide. Take a thin slice, hold the section nice and tight, tease one small step at a time, all the way up to the root. Place the teeth of the Cooboard all the way towards your scalp. And then paint slightly lower than the previous section. So we don't need this section to be all the way to the scalp because this is the area that's not going to be visible when she wears her hair up in the ponytail. So it's okay to have a little bit more of a root, but I'm still blending, still making sure that the section is really clean and everything looks good. When I'm closing the foil, careful not to drag the foil down so that I'm not exposing any of the lightener. Repeat on the opposite side. Now I'm choosing my next section to be horizontal. The reason for it is I want a little bit more of a connection between my left side and the right side. So I'm taking a horizontal section. I'm going to subdivide that by taking a really wide weave. That's going to ensure that my blend is perfect and the color is blended. Once again, I'm going to do 2 diagonal sections, except this time around, instead of taking a slice, I'm going to take a weave and paint on a slant. Painting on a slant is going to give me a little pocket of depth right inside of that section. So once I do 2 sections on the right side and on the left side, I'll have a little bit more of dimension and depth coming through right in the center of the head. And now onto a horizontal section. Now since we're approaching the top of the head, I have to be a little bit more careful. So instead of taking a slice and then weaving that slice, I decided to go ahead and weave the entire section, which is going to give me much more of a diffused look. Now working with the top section coming from the back. Taking a section, weaving it first, and then when I'm teasing, I'm going to lift the section up, and that's going to ensure the tease is going to stay as close to the scalp as possible. So tease as many times as you need to make sure that the section that's left in your fingers is fine enough that you can make sure that the saturation is even and the blend can be achieved. This is my favorite part of the technique. It's called tipping out. Tipping out brightens the ends instead of creating dimension at the root. You're going to take a section, tease it, and once we're done teasing, we're going to apply lightener from mid-shaft to ends. All right, we are halfway there. The next few sections are going to be the front hairline. This is where the client wants to see the most amount of pop and the most amount of brightness. So we're going to go ahead, do 2 baby lights. Baby lights is a really fine highlight. Take a slice first and then weave as close to the root as possible. The closer you weave to the root and to the scalp, the finer your weave is going to be. The farther your weave is going to be from the scalp, the more chunkier it's going to be. Place the foil and paint as close to the root as possible without creating any bleed marks. Take another slice to outline the whole front hairline. In this situation, I'm only doing one slice to outline the hairline. If you choose to have a little bit more of a bolder face frame, you can go ahead and do 2 in a row. And the leftovers of the section is going to be a tease highlight. Tease the section first, and then I'm going to paint all the way to the root. Now on to section number 4. I'm going to divide this section in half by taking a horizontal section. For all of the sections in the major section number 4, I'll be painting about 1 inch to 1.5 inches away from the scalp. Divide the section in half once again. This time around, we're going to take a weave. Comb the section between your fingers, combine it nice and clean, and then my weave is about 1 inch to 2 inches away from the scalp to make sure that the section is diffused. To finish a face frame, we're going to do baby light, outlining the whole front hairline. The next two sections are going to be two horizontal back-to-back tease lights. Weave first, check for diffusion underneath the section, and then paint right to the root. The rest of section 5 is going to be a weave highlight followed by a tease light. And then again, a weave highlight followed by a tease light until you finished with the section. If your client's desired look has much more brightness at the root, you can finish this whole section doing just highlights and then tipping out all of the hair that was left between the foils by teasing and painting from mid-shaft to ends. Separate the hair in the center to divide about the same amount on the right side as the left side to get it ready to be tipped out. Remember that tipping out only is to brighten the ends and not to add any more dimension to the root. So when we are painting, we're only going to be painting from mid-shaft to ends. Once the color done processing, I go through and I check every foil. I remove the excess product off of the hair and I always blend it at the root. If there are any inconsistencies with blending or saturation, this will be a really good way to check. And now everyone's least favorite part is taking out that tease. So what I've learned from experience that helps me is I rinse out the lightener, I put on the conditioner, and I run my fingers through at the sink with the conditioner on, so no shampoo has hit her hair yet. Using a wet brush, I gently work from underneath, starting in the mid-shaft and gradually getting closer and closer to the scalp. Once some of the section's been untangled, then I can go ahead and work from the top of the section. The beauty of doing tease lights is that all you have to do is once you're finished is to do a glaze to get the desired tone, and no shadow root needs to be done unless a client requests a deeper and darker tone at the root. Thank you guys so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you'll give Cooboard and this technique a try.